know. It's like... This is Inside the Game, where passion meets precision. Jonathan Turner, Nathan Wengler, and John Natale are your hosts, breaking down every goal, every controversy, every match that matters. From the heart of American soccer to the global stage. No fluff, just football. Weekdays at 9 a.m. live on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all listening platforms.
Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner, Nathan Wengler, and John Natale.
Good morning. It is Thursday. It is episode number 99, just one episode away from 100. We'll call ourselves Mr. 100, maybe. I don't know. But either way, Misters 100, Misters. The 100th episode is tomorrow, and we're excited about that. We are excited about it being episode number 99 as well. And I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler and John Natale. It is Inside the Game here on this Thursday morning, June the 5th. And first and foremost, how are you guys doing?
We're good. I'll tell you what, I think episode 99 is going to, someone better call fire department or have some extinguishers on, because I think everybody's a little hot this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am. Boy, I'll tell you, something set me off yesterday. I don't think I've slept a wink thinking about what to talk about today. And I've got some doozies. And I walked in this in an unexpected situation that I know had both you and Nate kind of... So let's go. Let's put on the 16 ounces and go.
All right. So I think first and foremost, I got to talk about having.
Let Nate say. I mean, he's got to say how he's
I'm doing good.
Cut him off real quick. Let's go around the table.
Gretzky episode. Good poll by the coffee firm. I like that. Normally it was Peter for the first handful of EPs. We were picking, which athlete we wanted, like what number and stuff. Some of them were easy. But oh man, he just threw in a couple of other good ones. So we got Gretzky, JJ Watt. That's a good one. Warren Sapp. All right, I'll take those. Good polls, you guys. It's an important one.
Malik Foster.
there you go.
In Indy 11. I'm sure that everybody knew that.
Good poll.
But Nate, you're good.
Doing all right.
Okay,
yeah.
Now, JT,
right.
now you can
go ahead. Go ahead.
You can go.
Yeah, all you.
I'm fantastic, by the way. I asked myself.
No, I don't care about that. Just to go ahead with what you're going to say.
Oh, fair enough.
We didn't ask how you were doing. You asked how we were doing.
The love in this room. But hey, so last night we had 24 broadcasts scheduled. I think we ended up doing 19. And anyways, one of the ones we did not do was Flint City AFC. Now, Flint City has been a customer of ours now this is the third year, and we have a great relationship with the Bucks in Flint City, and the girls' side, the women's side, will play their games up in Atwood, and every once in a while they'll have a game down in Livonia because a lot of their players play for the Hawks and will come from the Hawks, so it's kind of like Hawk Night. Anyways. We had informed, we use outside vendors a lot now to help us with our local videography, right? We have cameras out in the field, and if we don't have enough cameras, we'll then hire a local company to go out and do it for us. And this particular company has done a lot of work for us. I think they've probably done a couple hundred games for us in the last couple of years. We had sent a message to them on Tuesday saying, hey, just an FYI, this game is not in Flint. This game is in Livonia at Schoolcraft College, and sent them a picture of the location and confirmed. And this company has been to this location many times for other events like the Michigan Wolves that we've done in the past. And so this is not like a new place that they've been to. They've been there before. So I get a text message from the AFC yesterday at about like 4 o'clock saying, hey, just an FYI, this game might get moved up because of weather. We might move it up about 20 minutes. So just an FYI. So naturally, what would I do? You would call the company that's going out there and saying, just a heads up, this game could start earlier. So, be ready. And that's when they were like, well, our camera operator is not going to get there till almost 6:40. They're coming in from Toronto. I go, well, when did you know about this? They're like, well, we knew yesterday, but he thought he would be there on time. I go, don't you think it'd be a good idea to, like, I don't know, inform me that you have someone coming in that might be late and that we could have a plan B? Because, if the camera doesn't show up, we can't do a game. Oh, no, we're fine. I go, oh, okay. I go, whatever. So he's like, okay, we'll be there at 6:40. So at 6:30, I haven't heard from them yet. John, you're getting ready to do your game at 7 o'clock. You're already in your game and getting ready to, maybe that game's coming to an end. So your Midwest United game is currently happening. You're getting ready for the next game, basically. We have 5 other games happening at that time. So I'm bouncing between our transmission line and dealing with all the problems inside the studio. And then I get I text just for a status update. He's like, he's there now. He's going to get ready to get set up. I go, perfect. And then 2 minutes later, he calls me and goes, hey, John, the gates are locked. I go, what do you mean the gates are locked? I mean, there's no gates at this facility. Where is he at? He's at Atwood. He's in Flint. What do you mean he's in Flint? He's like, yeah, he's in Flint. I go, but didn't we send you a thing saying is in Livonia? He's like, yeah, but I asked you guys to confirm it after and you never did. I go, so we sent you a picture and the location. And then you decided after we confirmed with you the location to send another text to ask us about the normal location. And we never responded to that. So that was your cue to stay and not go to the place we sent you?
Of course.
He's like, yeah. I go,
okay.
What
else would you do? What else would you do in that situation? My man did the right thing. What? My man did the right thing.
I was like, what? He ended up hanging up on me. Yeah. And I called the Flint and I was like, hey, I go, our camera operator, because they called me on Tuesday. Just remember, tomorrow game's in Livonia. I go, I know. We send it to our camera operator. It's confirmed. We're good. And we were just chuckling about it. But then I got a text message this morning saying, hey, John, can you guys take the film from that game and like do your thing? I go, yes, we can.
Classic Game Rewind brought to you by the National Soccer Network. It's a damn good thing we brought out that service.
I know. We haven't even really announced it yet either. We're going to announce that list upcoming week. But here lies in the problem. There are a lot of nuances to what we do, a lot of moving pieces. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, the local production company, which obviously happens to be me as well, we're all tied into this like whole thing where it's like we're all overwhelmed. Okay. And while I can appreciate that a single production company has one game at a time, and that's so important to them, I've got 65 at a time. And like being able to white glove the production company that's supposed to know what they're doing is so hard for us to accomplish. I'm already white gloving this whole service with the teams themselves because they have no clue. They have no clue. I mean, most teams we talk to are like, dude, we don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. I mean, most don't give a shit. I'm not saying that to be disingenuous to the sport, but they do not give a shit because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that when the whistle is blown, their team is competing. Everything else is just a bonus. It's like a little icing on the cake. You get into like USL League 2 land, it's different. But I'm talking about almost every other league in this country where they're like, oh, it's mandatory that you stream. They don't give a shit. They're like, it's a headache. We are a headache. And so when that occurs, what ends up happening? Well, they don't treat it as such. They don't take it seriously. They don't provide us with information. We don't get rosters on time. We don't get this. We don't get that. I mean, nothing down any aspect of this process is followed because they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. And again, it's not, I don't think it's because when I say they don't give a shit, like I think that they do care. But because there are so many more important things on their list to do's, that it's just like down here at 17 on their list. Got to hand out the jerseys tonight at, whatever. I got to make sure I have 18 players. I mean, if we look at Real Central, for example, how many times would he send us a message saying, I don't think I'm going to have 15 players in this roster today? He'd be like, what's going on? Like, I don't even have enough players. It's like, I have no idea who's showing up tonight. Do you think I care about your stream? No. I mean, he did, but it's like, what are we going to do? And so it's like, and then we get a complaint about mispronunciations, right? Which I got one on Saturday about after a state final game for MSYSA. We had a mother reach out to us on Facebook saying that we ruined her kid's life forever because we didn't say his name. Like, legit. She said he was getting phone calls from family and friends all about the fact that we mispronounced his name the entire game.
For life.
For life is what she said.
How old was he?
I don't know. 15? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Done.
Hey, as someone whose last name is Wangler, suck it up. Wrangler, Wagner, all of them. Every time. Anyways, sorry, I'm not getting fired up about this, but you get my point.
It's like, but it's like, yeah, I get it. We're like, the best way to explain this is we're like the server at the restaurant, right? We're not the cooks. We're the server. We the commentators, quote unquote, and NSN, the forward-facing aspect of this is the server in the restaurant, right? You're sitting at your table, and what do you want to do? The first thing you want to do is complain to your server about how bad the food was that you didn't cook. It's like, it's your fault, server. It's your fault. And then, it's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, okay, in this scenario, you handed me a credit card that's declined. Now you're yelling at me. That's what this is. Like, you're handing me a credit card that has no money on it, and you want me in my chair to say, oh, okay, I'll take care of it for you. No, fucking put money on your credit card and stop bitching at me because you didn't provide me with what I needed. Like, legitimately, it's like these teams have all this information. They have all of it. They have all of it. They have the players' names. They know their history. They're putting them on social media on a regular basis. Oh, my God, look at this. Jose whoever, John whatever, right? It's like they're putting them on. So they know who they are.
No. I will counter that. Do you know how many coaches I've gone down to that don't know their players' names because they have a nickname? Costa Lucas. Oh, we just call him KK.
Maybe the okay, not coach, organization.
The organization.
Organization knows. The coach might not know because they do like Paul Doro will send me his roster on game day and it has like Elvis and there's no Elvis on the roster. It's somebody else. It's like, who the hell is Elvis? Oh, it's the Kumba Katuba. How am I supposed to know
Katuba? No, that happens a lot too.
It's like, who is that? You're like, JJ. I don't know who that is.
Who the hell is JJ? You're looking.
I'm supposed to know who that is. Like, it's like, seriously. It's like, so again, we bitched about this last week. We got into it. Like, no, I should be able to call and get rosters. I should be able to do this 100%. But what's the response rate?
Well, but that's in your email or when you reach out. Put the disclaimer in there. Get that paper trail. Every email I send, every single one, I say, I'm only as good as the information provided to me. Every single one. So if they come back and say, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, whoosh, old print feature on the old Google machine to the Epson. Whip that sucker out and a fact scan right to them. It's right there in the legit conversation.
And I think it's also important to know that in certain areas of the world, you might say wick or witch or Vic. I mean, like, there's 3 different ways to say the same last name, but because of where they live, it's a different phonetic sound. I mean, like, and if I don't know that, I'm going to go off of what I believe is what that should sound like. And so I'm making an educated guess.
Well, right? I've worked with you guys for some 40 episodes now, and you still say my last name wrong.
Natali.
It's Natali.
See, that's it.
But legit, like, that's how you say my last name, Natali. It's not Natali. You guys got that Midwest,
the Midwest thing. Yeah.
Hey, Natali. You want to come over for a couple of brewskis, Natali?
We're gonna go watch the Spartans
So
at the
it's
bar.
pronounced Natali, or is it Natali?
It's Natah, like Natah.
Natali.
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 Jesus.
Go Spatty.
Jeez.
Well, see, but I keep mum about it. But now since I'm wearing my Italian keeper jersey, might as well represent a little bit here.
So Peter's last name is pronounced Mazouk.
Oh, I thought it was MMN.
Mazouk.
No.
Yeah, I thought it was Peter.
I think that's Midwest
Mm-hmm.
Media Network or something. Midwest Media Network or something like that. Anyways, I get it. Believe you me, just like I would say most servers want to get it right? They want the food to come out right because they get paid more money, right? They want to get it right. I would imagine, that frontline worker wants to get it right, and probably 90% of the time. I'm not going to talk about the 10%ers who don't give a shit, but the 90% of them probably care because it impacts their paycheck, right? We want to get it right, and we don't take that lightly. Now, are there moments where we make a mistake? Of course, we're freaking humans. So and to be fair, in most cases, we don't have a roster until like 16 seconds before the game. Like yesterday, John had reached out to both teams that he was dealing with last night and sent them a group message. Now, we do that as habit because for us, it's easier to get information by dealing with just one email thing than versus like getting 17 emails. So it just makes sense to put it into one thing and send it out, right? Now, did John know that one of those teams just didn't like the other and they don't want to share information between the two of them? No. And to be fair, I don't think I knew that. And I've been in a relationship with these teams for a bit, so I had no idea. So they were like, well, I'm not going to send that information in that group thing. I go, well, then send it to them directly. They're like, why are we even having this conversation? John did not have rosters for a team yesterday until I called him and said, hey, can you go on this website and find it? And we worked through it, and he was doing that 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And I'm walking through pronunciations with him really quick to make sure because I know this team. So I'm working through that on a phone call. The game's already happening. So if you don't tell me that that's nuts, that's freaking nuts.
It's asinine.
It's unbelievably asinine. And we are the ones that we're the front line. So what's going to happen is, is John's going to do that game. And then I'm going to get a text message or an email or a social media post from somebody in somewhere land USA around the world and say, you got it wrong. And we're going to say, yeah, you're right. We did get it wrong. But how did we know we got it wrong? How do we know we're getting it wrong?
Was that a thing of saying that you got an email or a text from somewhere?
No, not for you. No, we got an Instagram post
about a game that we did. I just want to make sure.
No. I mean,
but you're right. I mean, it's the fact that you know what you and I did. We didn't freak out about it.
No,
we figured it out, got it done, and then I was quiet for a little bit, and then unhit the mute button, and away we go. So problem resolved. I mean, there was a problem. We were the ones who recognized it because we didn't have anything and then fixed it and done. A lot of teams don't give you that advantage because it's as soon as you get it wrong, they don't address the problem, what it is. They just yell at you for getting it wrong. It's, hey, next time this player's name is so-and-so, not you guys got it wrong, whatever. Well, and then we can get on our whole side of the argument and theirs, and then it's a big bitch fest. And
it's not an argument. I mean, there's not an argument to be had. I feel
no, you're right. You're right.
Because again, we're still going to do our job, and our job is to deliver a high level broadcast, regardless of what they provide to us. And we're always going to do that, and we're always going to do everything we can to make it look, feel professional as possible. And are we going to make our mistakes along the way? Of course we are. I've done this enough times to know that it's not going to be perfect, and that every broadcast we do is in fact imperfect. They're not perfect. Everything we do, we added some new things into our broadcast yesterday. Our producers are kind of learning on the fly. And what does that mean? That means that somewhere along the line, someone's going to start saying something, and something's not going to be on the screen at the same time, right? So there's going to be this thing, and so we're going to be going through those growing pains, And so for me, I have to look and say, well, how is that possible? Now, so everybody has an idea. We do these sheets for every game. Okay, so every game we do, there is a sheet that's in our studio. And you're like, well, why are you using paper? It's recycled, so back off. Okay, so, all right, it's back off. Okay, so, but we have this sheet. And on this sheet, it has information pertaining to the game. It has, hey, again, check all stream key information. So we're not sending a game to an old stream. Don't want to do that. Our graphics, our reads. It has our video playlist. Hey, are there team sponsors in red? If that thing is checked off right there, guys, on the sheet, that right there, that lets them know that we have a sponsor, that there's a sponsor for that game for a team. So they have to go look for it, right? We do these things for every single game. These are all the forms from yesterday. Okay, so we go through every single one and we verify if it's streamed. We verify what the score was. Make sure the highlights are in a highlight package on the website that we put them to. We go through all that after every single game. Every single game. I go into a CRM that I pay a ton of money for, and we notate in CRM whether the game was streamed successfully or it didn't. We send emails out to teams to let them know that we received their feed or we didn't. And we do that for every single game. So if we had 20 games yesterday, I'm sending out 22 emails this morning to the teams that successfully streamed and 5 or so to the ones that didn't. And why was the reason? What happened? Where was the disconnect? And we have 147 games this week. So we send out 147 emails before the game to remind them there's a game coming up, and here's how it goes. And then 147 follow-up emails after the fact. And that also comes in with 147 phone calls that take place on the day of the game because we have to have them call in. And do you know how many people send us their rosters in those reminders? Take a guess. Nathan says 0. John says 2. Okay. Actually, it's between 0 and 2.
1?
Yeah.
Let's go.
1.
Let's go.
I see. I would have been out because I went over. I wouldn't have won the showcase, so I lose.
Do you know where we go? For the League for Clubs and the WPSL, we go to Squatty. We send our people to Squatty because that's where the teams actually put their stuff. So for the most part, now it's not even close to being accurate.
No,
but that's at least we put them. At least there's something there, right?
The name itself is. Where do you go for your roster, Squatty?
I was taking a Squatty while using
squatting. Yeah,
what it sounds like. Oh man, I gotta take such a Squatty right now. App is junk.
Like,
it's junk.
Like, come on, man. And again,
I'm sorry. Wait, so I just wanted a quick detour here because I know you got a point. We got to continue with this because it's a good convo. Natalie, you had them together in a group text. They didn't send information because they didn't. Natalie, sorry.
See?
Sorry.
Hold on.
You gonna send a strongly worded email?
Of bitches. I've had it with this.
You ruined my life.
My life is ruined.
They didn't send information because they didn't quote like each other.
Because they thought that sending the roster to their opponent would tip formations. For whatever reason, it was just because they didn't want to. It was the opposing team that they didn't want to give them the roster.
In a baseball game when they exchange lineup cards, or post lineups like an hour and a half before the game. What? It's just the name of the players and the numbers.
I know. That's why I don't want to assume what I was going to do with that information. Like if I was going to somehow jump on the Google machine and somehow manipulate, or get a hold of Anonymous and say, "Hey boys, can you help me out here? What do we do? Let's figure out that." I don't know. But that's, that's what it is.
Over yourself.
Doing football, basketball, baseball, soccer, softball, tiddlywinks, pinochle, whatever it is. I'm just looking for names. That's it. I wasn't asking for formations or, what's your coaching style or anything like that. I just need a roster. That's it.
I just
be the same thing.
And Pinochle, Meemaw takes the card off the deck, slams it down.
That's right. But
Meemaw for the win. Sorry, I just thought that'd be funny.
No, Pinochle and Canasta, two of the finest card games out there for your 55 and over communities. But
actually, that'd be kind of fun to call like a euchre tournament. That'd be hilarious. That'd be kind of cool.
We're getting sidetracked.
Partner's going alone. Other partner's shaking his head, going, "What a dumbass."
But yeah, so that's all it was. It was just reaching out to the two teams out there. One was responsive and one wasn't. And one was the excuse that they didn't want to exchange with the other team because they didn't like each other.
Yeah,
Get
and
over it,
those are things,
Get
and
the
they're
hell
real,
over
they're
it.
real things. They're not real things. And again,
Man.
but again, we had State Cup this weekend, and I kid you not, every team was given a questionnaire, and on one of the questionnaires, it said, "Who's your starting lineup?" This is a U14 boys state final. We don't give that until right before the game. That's what the coach said. And then down below, who are your standout players? None. All of them are great to us. Like that was their their response. I was like, that's great. You know what I mean? Like,
your team is awesome.
I know, right?
You have the best team ever. I didn't know I had the privilege.
It was the way it was responded. Like, again, it's to each their own, right? I get it. In everyone's land, there's a number of reasons as to why you aren't going to do something, but we have to have a disclaimer. I think we just had to put a disclaimer on the screen for every game saying, hey, if we mispronounce a name, it's not on purpose. We were probably not provided it. And if you feel like you can provide us the information, please do. Do you know
how 100% I want you to do that? To type out something that the information provided to us or something of that nature, disclaiming that if there's mispronunciation or anything like that, we're only I would love to see that.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be great to specify that to the teams. You know what sucks the worst, though? And I know you already pointed this out. The team itself, the club itself, is not oftentimes going to receive any slack for exactly what happens there. It's going to be the messenger. And that's what sucks the worst about it, right? And for someone like Natali, got it that time, and myself,
you had to stop, though. You stopped.
Yeah.
Like, Natali, 1, 2, 3.
Got it. Like we pride ourselves on putting out a professional product, and part of that is getting those types of things right. And again, it's the difficult nature of not being there. But even if we were there, it would force us to have to track them down. It would force them or us to actually get in front of them. Like in the one game I did in person, even then, I jokingly talked about the one girl's name that looked very suggestive, but it turned out to be something else. I could only imagine if that was a remote game, I would have had to assume something different because I wouldn't have had anything to go off of. And the only reason I was able to figure it out was I had to walk across the pitch, find the coach who was in the middle of trying to direct traffic, get physically in front of him and go, you're going to tell me how these are pronounced so I don't yell out what I think I'm going to yell out at this game if it's not completely 100% accurate. So that's the side, is that it's always the messenger. It's always the messenger who gets the brunt of the backlash, which in this case, it's the announcer. And so that's what, I think part of it is like maybe these clubs don't get any pushback or any flack because of what happens. So therefore, they don't see it as something that needs to quote unquote be fixed. As long as it's up, as long as it's on, they're good to go. Because it's always the messenger that's going to end up taking the brunt of all of that. And so that's what's really hard in my mind, is that we're always going to be the ones that end up being front of mind whenever something like that happens, because we're the announcer.
But you know what, though? Is it just like an athlete or anybody in any other profession? It's something that we gear ourselves up for. We know we're going to make mistakes because 98.9% of the time we're live.
Mm-hmm. And
we're going to make mistakes. But it's just like athletes when you see, especially in basketball, because they're so enclosed to the court and the fans are right on top of them. When players complain that a fan said something to them. Now, I don't give the fans a right to say some of the stuff they do, but that's territory. When you become a professional athlete, that's going to come at you. It's a part of your game. It's a part of your routine. Every day of your life, you're under a microscope for the rest of your life, just like us.
Right.
If they're listening to our broadcast, they're expecting that we did the prep work. We got every pronunciation right. We have every statistic right. We're not going to bumble over our words. We're not going to accidentally say this person when we thought we saw a 9, but we really saw an 8 because they were far away and their jersey folded a little bit. We didn't see the whole number. It just comes with the territory. So, yeah, does it piss us off? 100% it does. But at the same time, I think we're built a little different to say, hey, it's going to happen. I can improve on the next time. I can try to do better. And that's all we can do. So the complaints and at some point, you never like to hear it. You never like to hear that you've done wrong or whatnot. But if in the back of your head, doesn't matter what you say to try to correct the problem to an angry parent, especially, or an angry coach or whoever it is, they're angry at you. There's very little that you're going to be able to say for them to change their mind, how they think. And that's just the way it falls. You can only go next time that you have that team or they invite you back and you just say the name right or do it right. That's all you can do.
Yeah. It's an area that we are going to always struggle in. I mean, even when you have the pronunciations, even when you have them like written out, like it's like, even when you write them out, because the way our brains work, and you know this, is that we look at something, and even when we actually do the phonetics, sometimes after you've done the phonetics, your mind will play tricks with you because you'll see the name again, the way it's actually spelled correctly, and it starts to just get discombobulated in your brain, and so you have to practice it a ton. And the problem too is that, okay, so it's really easy when you have the same team 17 times. Okay, because on like the second game, I know that name. I know that because now there's for us, it's first off, there's identifying the number on the field. At 15 is Wangler, right? You have to know that, right? Okay, I know Wangler, and 15. I got to find 15 on the field now, and so when I see 15, I know that that's Wangler, right? But then, okay, this part of the whole process too. Not only are you trying to identify that player, but if their name is hard, now you're going 15. Oh shit, pronunciation, right? Now there's another step to that process. Okay. It's not one and the same. There's a second and third step in there after you've identified the player. If I just can find 15 and I got Wangler, Davis, Smith, Jones, and those are like the back line, and they're 15, 18, 22, and 27. And I can start to identify that one's wearing orange cleats, another one's wearing, a headband, and you can start to find these identifying markers on them. That helps you in the process of identification. And that their names are easy. Yeah. I mean, and to be fair, I think most of us, when we look at a roster going, that one's hard, that was easy, hard, easy. Okay, who of them are starting? All of them are easy. Fantastic.
But how many times have you asked for pronunciations? Or they give you a pronunciation guide, right? But you still double check with an SID or a comms person or whoever to go over that pronunciation. Then you rewrite it phonetically how you think it's spelled. And then when it comes to actually say it, you're like, "Blah," and it just comes out of your mouth
all
like
the time. And to be fair, it's the Vitch, the Vic, and the Witch that get me.
What'd you call me?
I take so much, especially as a PA announcer. Like a PA announcer with you have the ability as a play-by-play guy because you're going to say a name multiple times. So if you say it wrong, you can correct it. If you screw it up as a PA, you're oh my gosh, it is. You hear it too. They will let you know so fast.
It's funny, right? We should actually they had like that show, like something diaries, right? We should do like broadcaster diaries or something like that. We should have like a segment called, and
a day in the life.
Like a soft tone music, maybe we go Stark, maybe some candles, broadcast diaries.
Have me sitting in the corner. It was the worst Wednesday night of my life. Indy 11 versus Hartford Athletic.
You're like smoking. You can have sitting in a chair with a pipe.
Hear it in the background.
You could sit in a chair with a pipe and a glass of an old fashioned in one of their glass. Some scotch. On tonight's episode of Broadcast Theater.
Whitecaps go array. Brought to you by Nathan Wangler.
No, and then
Can we
I
talk
think it's
about
also
something
important to touch
funner?
on
Because
because
this is getting depressing. I'm tired. We're beating ourselves up because saying how bad we suck. Can we talk about something
This
else?
sucks. That sucks. We
We
suck.
suck.
This
well,
sucks.
I don't think that we suck. I don't even come close to thinking that we suck.
No, but I'm saying
but-
like we're
Let me
getting
tell you
all
why
these
I
comments
suck.
about what we're doing wrong, and it's like God. I mean, you thought old boy had it problems at 15. Think about me at 46. Jesus, I've got half the life he does to go. I got to make the most out
being
of
that
this
you're
thing.
Italian and your last name is pronounced Natali.
Natali. Jesus Christ. What are we doing?
That's another thing, man. You get used to saying a name a certain way. You can't get away from it.
That's the
Can't
thing.
get away from it.
Natali. Okay.
Natali.
Natali.
And he even came back like Natali. No, you just said it that way. Nata. T-A-L.
It's not Vitalis.
N-U-H.
Natal.
T-A-H-L-E-E. Natali.
Natali.
We have a pizza place here in Michigan called Vitalis, and now I'm wondering if I've been pronouncing that wrong the entire time.
Probably.
I've been on this earth for 28 years. I've probably been saying it wrong the entire time.
Give him a call. Never know.
Okay, so clearly I'm bad at my job. But with that being said, I'm gonna live that. I'm never gonna live this down. I can't even pronounce our fellow podcast host's last name properly. So
It's all right.
Peter, we don't care about the Chicago Fire in the new stadium. Okay, this right now is more about us.
This is more important.
This is more about us. Okay, right. All kidding aside, the thing is awesome. Especially the fact that no one's paying for it except the owner of the team. That's awesome too, right? Because all we need is more infrastructure in this country. Just big ass stadiums that once upon a time they'll be gone. Nobody will be in them anymore.
Well, the Bears are moving anyway, so
it's like
if they're gonna get a new stadium, at least have the billionaire owner pay for it. So I mean that's it's cool with me.
Well, the Bears are moving, so Soldier Field is going to be gone.
I heard. I'm happy I get to get in there and actually see something before it's gone.
Yeah,
I've heard
especially on July 30th, 29th.
July 30th.
All right. So for the sake of this show, yesterday we were talking. Okay, real quick. By the way, if you have a complaint that you would like to complain about how we do things, just write it on a piece of paper like this. All you have to do is you're going to fold it like this, and you're going to find a circle filing cabinet right here off to the right or anywhere in your room and just throw it there. And that's where complaints will live right now, rent free in our brains. So we appreciate you complaining. I think it's a good way to do it. Here's our complaint process.
Yep. Yep.
Anyways, so we were talking about tryouts and how tryouts are upon us, right? They are this weekend in a lot of states across this country, obviously here in Michigan. And leading up to in the next few weeks, we've got U.S. Youth Regionals taking place. So U.S. Youth Soccer, which is, U.S. YSA, is the one that handles all of youth soccer and championships across the country. And there were the state playoff finals were this past weekend for a lot of them. And now regionals will take place here on June 20th in Overland Park, Kansas for the Midwest Region 2. Regionals, and then those teams are fighting for a chance to go on and play in a national championship down in Florida here in July. But tryouts are this weekend. So here you are, you played on your team, right? You played on your team in the state finals, right? This past season, your team wins it. You now go try out for that team this weekend, and you don't make it. You might not join your team in Kansas. You were part of that run. Now talk about the psychological component of that nightmare and how that could affect a kid. Could you imagine? You're like, I was there for the round robin. I was with this team the entire season. We win the damn thing. And now I'm not going to Kansas because I either got picked up by another team, I got cut, whatever. And now I don't get to be a part of that. I think that's on a lot of different levels just screwed up. I don't know. And I understand why tryouts have to be when they have to be. I get that. But, and I do believe that I think that the way the rosters work is that you can bring 2 new players on from the team like that the 2 new players you picked up, something like that. But again, if you get cut, who the hell is going to go out and be on that team? Like, yep, sorry, you didn't make it, but you can join us in Kansas. Like, would any of you, like, you're with your team, you go win a state championship, you hoist a trophy, you get the medal, and then a week later you go on your team. Coach is like, Nate, you're not good enough anymore for this team, man. We're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get bumped down to the B team, but you can still join us in Overland. You want to join us? Are you gonna go?
Probably not. That's in my mind. That's not acceptable. No, if I was a part of the entire process of getting us there, absolutely not.
John, you going?
What do you think? Why even ask me that question? Why even ask? You're going to bypass right to the next question. Not a chance in hell.
No chance in hell. So, but we're expecting 14-year-old kids to have to do that. Now, granted, let's be honest here, okay? Mom and dad, they're with the team. They're all going out and they're all getting drinks and they're all having a good time. And mom and dad are like, no, we're going to go because we get to go hang out with the buds. We get to go hang out with our pals. And
that's fine.
So, little Johnny's going to come with us and he's going to go sit on the bench, but we're going to all have a good time. Now, I'm not saying it's all parents, but I remember with my families and whatever, it was all about all the parents were all at the bar, they're all having those drinks and they're in the hot tub all talking about this, that, and the other, how my little Johnny's probably got less playing time than that and they're whatever. But it's like I just imagine that this component that I don't think I've ever even talked about before. I mean, like, why would anyone want to do that? Now, granted, if you are making the decision to go from one team to another, then obviously you're not going to be a part of that. There are another good example of this is, like, for example, the Nationals are not an MLS Next program. So you've got the Wolves, you got Midwest United, you've got Vardar, you've got I believe the Jaguars, MLS Next, right? So if you are playing for the Nationals, the highest level that they have in the boys' side is ECNL. And in my conversations with those who play in MLS Next and ECNL land is that there's a significant difference in the level of play between ECNL and the MLS Next academies. Now, there might be some great teams within the ECNL that would match up very well against the MLS Next teams. And I do believe the Nationals here in Michigan would be, especially some of the older boys, would be in that same ballpark. Really good caliber players. They're just not in MLS Next. Now, a player here who wants to go in the MLS Next Academy, they would have to leave the Nationals to go do that. And if they want to have a better exposure and be a part of a better training platform, possibly, if that's what they're trying to do, then I understand that. So if you're leaving to go on to bigger and better things, that is different than you saying, I want to go play for the team across the way that I think is a competitor, right? Just for competitor's sake, just because I want to go over here. Maybe it's a playing time thing, whatever it might be. You making a choice to leave your club and going to another club, you being a part of that run, you've kind of just taking yourself out of that equation by saying, I want to leave, right? I'm going somewhere. But for you to come try out, put everything you have into it and be cut, or saying, hey, we're going to put you down on the B team now because 3 new players came in who are really good, who we think are better than you. Now they're on this team. But by the way, you can come with us to Overland Park, Kansas and be a part of this run. Are you okay with, oh yeah, let's do this. I don't think a mother, father, anyone would want to put their child through that in most cases. And I don't think that'd be fair for a player to even want to do that. So it just leads us to the question is, why the hell do we even allow that? Why is that even a thing? Why wouldn't we wait until, I guess, what is the answer to this? How do you solve this problem? Because it seems to me like it's a shitty thing to put a kid through. And are we making a mountain out of a molehill? Does it even matter? Do these kids really care about this? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to understand this.
Youth sports has gotten out of hand. Do you two agree with that?
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
it has gotten out of hand. And the problem with it is now, let's face it, when we were younger, JT, you and me, more specifically, Nate, you a little bit later on, but still probably the same thing. If you sucked, you sucked. Right? If you were good, you were good. And people told you. That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking the other day, and I said, I was the guy that was trying, and I wanted to succeed, and I was really trying. But and JT asked me the question, did I have people on my team that weren't as good and that weren't performing and everything like that, and it pissed me off. It sure did. But we let them know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't jackass around. You're not good enough to do what you're doing. So don't mess around. Don't try to be buddy with everybody when we're trying to win here. Don't joke around, make shit up and do stupid stuff, because guess what? Your play doesn't qualify for that. So stop it. And we let people know. Now, every damn kid that comes through the system, their parents think they're going to be the next whomever superstar in whatever sport they're going to play. And sometimes wearing that badge of a travel team or a academy team or something like that, it bolsters the ego. Not when I was playing baseball at a small age for the Berea Baseball Association, the rec league, wearing hand-me-down pants where I got a staph infection from, and wearing uniforms that didn't even match. I was on the Astros, and my colors were green and white, and I was on the Astros. But I still played baseball, and no one cared, but I was doing my thing. It didn't matter. My brother was on a travel team, a well-respected one. He was on the Sox. It was when the White Sox came out with the pinstripes and the new lettering and everything. They had it was the same thing. And it stuck out. Like, the kids wanted that uniform more than they wanted to play baseball. And this is the same thing with soccer. Like, I see kids wearing their kits around, and there's these big logos on there, and USA SA and all these other associations and federations that they belong to, and they might be junk. But because they have some dollars in their pockets and their parents think, oh, well, they got there because they're going to be the next so-and-so, insert name here, it's crap. And the parents, I do blame the parents. I blame the parents now. Just because you play JV soccer as a sophomore in high school doesn't mean that your kid, genetics thing, what you said yesterday, Nate, that your kid's going to come out and be the next Messi. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Let your kid live.
I realize it's been over a decade since I played Little League Baseball, which is crazy to say. But the reality is this: even despite the fact that it's probably worse now than what it was even when I was playing, there was still hints of that. What's really discouraging to me is the park that I used to play at is gone. Not the park itself. It's still very much there. There's still nature and everything like that, but all the fields are gone because the league doesn't exist anymore. And I believe I saw the first wave of this transition from Little League is dying to travel ball and money is king now. Because I remember one year in particular, I was playing on a team and we were hot garbage. We were not good. We were not good at all. And I remember that a few of our guys started to matriculate over to the travel side, one, two, couple of them, here or there. And then all of a sudden it came to a point to where we were literally pulling players from other teams in the league because half of our guys were no longer playing with us, or they were playing in this game for the Flames is what the travel team is here in Grand Rapids. We got a few other ones, but they're all playing on the Flames. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, they were hot ass in this league. What, all of a sudden overnight, now they're better, now they're capable of playing travel ball? I didn't understand at the moment, because when you're that age, you just assume that's where the better players are. Like, if you're playing travel, you're better than everybody. You know what I mean? You got the Diamonds Elite, the Diamonds, they literally have the Detroit Tigers logo. They just took one stripe out of it.
Yeah.
So you got that old English D, and you're like, yeah, this is me, Yeah, exactly. So at that moment, when you're that young, that's the only thing that comes to your mind is, oh, they're better. No. The older you get, the more you realize, no, mom and dad were willing to break out the pocketbooks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're in the position that they're in. And then you look at these, the best is my favorite YouTube hole to fall into sometimes, these prospect showcases that these places put on. And these kids that go out and they don't even know how to field a routine ground ball, let alone make an accurate throw anywhere. But you know what? Dad had a bum knee once upon a time, and so he's going to live vicariously through his son and spend every single dollar he can in order to, I don't know, try to make him into the next superstar in Major League Baseball. And that has gotten so bad now to the point to where literally here in Grand Rapids, I mean, there are entire little leagues that are shutting down. They can't operate anymore
Mhm.
because nobody wants to play in those leagues because they're like, oh, we're above that. Nose to the sky. We're above that. We're too good for that. It just it irks me. It really just doesn't sit well. And again, it's this belief. And I should send you guys this new social media page I just stumbled across, and I'm actually trying to get him on the show. His name's Kyle Wilson. His entire TikTok page, he's got nearly 7,000 followers, is dedicated to saving U.S. youth soccer, and because he sees how broken it is. And one of his jokes in the videos that he posted yesterday is a club that has MLS Next program, but they have 6 MLS Next programs, and they're all 8U programs. And congratulations, your son or daughter is in the MLS Next program. Congratulations, welcome in. It doesn't mean anything. It just means you have to pay more in order to have the patch. And then we have so many kids that we just play inter squad games. We just scrimmage each other every day, like for 3 hours. It's like, really? So the parents, in other words, are just spending an asinine amount of money so that they can have the patch, so that they can claim, hey, my kid's on his way up. My kid's a part of this elite grouping of kids that has MLS attached to it. Does it really hold any deeper meaning? No. But what it means is you're willing to spend more money in order to give your kid that namesake. It is, yeah, it is soccer. Soccer's a different level, though. Baseball is bad, but little league still exists. High school ball is still important. Basketball, obviously AAU has gotten interesting, but high school ball is still important. There's still that community thing. Soccer, it's. I guess I didn't realize how far we had gone this direction, but we're not the only ones who think that it needs saving, because clearly there are other people out there that see just how much of a mess it's become.
What I can't wrap my head around are the numbers that some of these academies have. I didn't honestly know that 1,400 kids within a 20-mile radius played soccer. I had no idea. I don't think I could scrounge up 1,400 baseball players. I don't think I could scrounge up 1,400 basketball players or football players, let alone soccer.
Yeah.
The sport is not the most popular of the 4.
Right.
But it's cheap. Soccer's cheap as far as the equipment's concerned, because it's a pair of shin guards, a pair of shoes, and you get a ball. But when it comes to these fees and traveling and uniforms and all this kind of stuff, at the end of the day, you look at it and you're like, what in the hell are we doing? You're telling me that we can't do something more constructive to get the more out of our athletes rather than getting more out of our pocketbooks? That's what it's become. Are we really training these kids? Are we really building them into better athletes or anything like that? Or are we just accepting a check with our name on it? True, it's an honest question to the both of you. Are we really preparing these young athletes for what is at the legit next level? Because at the end of the day, what is it? Nate, you said high school. So what is the legit thing after high school? It's not a travel team, or it's not an AAU team or anything like that. It's college. That's the progression. Are you good enough to play at D1? Are you good enough? Can you do NAIA? I mean, the transfer portal has screwed everything up, but at least that's where people are going to recognize you, and that's where the best talent lies. And that's why I think there's this soccer is, I think it's the worst. It's flooded everywhere I go now. Everywhere I go, there's some sort of tryout. There's some sort of league. It's you something. There's 10 of them. They just have a different name attached to it, whether it's MLS Next or Perry's Vipers or something stupid.
Yeah.
It seems like if there's a U something, there's 4 or 5 of them in academy. It's like, what do we do? We're just, it's overkill. It's absolutely overkill.
So, first, I think they are. So the coach, right? Well, there's obviously an administrative component to this, right? Where ownership and a lot of times your director of coaches or the academy coaches may even be owners or part ownership of a club, right? So there's, Yeah, but I think coaches as a whole want to coach, right? I mean, there's the money side to this, but I find it hard to believe that most of your coaches who happen to also be owners don't want to coach players and coach them to whatever that next level would be. The reality is that it's big business, it's big money. We know that. And to be fair, if you are an athlete who's 14 years old, who's playing at a high level, who has a chance of playing at the next level, you are getting exactly what you're going to get in club that you'd get in the professional ranks, which is a combination of administrative, professional bullshit. Right? So you're going to get. So, I mean, from preparing them for that whole standpoint, I think all these kids come in already a little like hesitant, weary, like political. They're already feeling it, man. They know it, right? I think the biggest challenge is, are we preparing them for life, right? For the outside world of outside soccer, right? Outside of the sport. Are we actually allowing the athlete themselves to, as we've talked about in the show before, to love the sport from not just one perspective, but as many perspectives as you can, right? Like that is the responsibility of a steward of this game, right? Because every coach is a steward of the game. And now they can also have a very positive impact or a very negative impact. We've heard that from Victoria Quay, right? We know how negative her experience was with certain coaches, which ultimately really hurt her love for the game. We know that. And while that might not be intentional, that might be a coach just trying to show hard and tough love to a specific player, and they weren't ready for it. There's a combination of factors here. One is, I do believe today's child, while they might be more intelligent, have more access to information, and can find a widening degree of success in a lot of areas, are still ill-prepared to deal with the emotional component of the real world. More so today than ever. And why? Because we as parents have shielded them from everything we possibly can for as long as we possibly can. And all that is done is create timid, afraid, and emotional distance and characteristics that you have to be able to go out in the world and be successful. Okay. And that's not meant to be a negative or talk down to people. That's really the case. I mean, as a kid, I was riding my bike everywhere and going everywhere. Okay. I was doing, I mean, my freedom was at whatever. Now, how many kids have the freedom to just go wherever they want to go anytime they want to? I mean, we just talked about it last week. My kid can't go to Target. It's like, right. I mean, so it's like, but as a kid, I found my way wherever. I mean, if you talk with your parents, they were like biking 40 miles when they were kids, going all over the place. I mean, like the freedom that we had as children, our children don't have that freedom. They don't have that. So they don't have the autonomy to go out and just do what they want to do. And if they do, that they're under scrutiny. They have all these things coming at them, which we didn't experience. I could only imagine what a life would have been like for me with internet, like to the extent it is now with social media, what that would have been like for me in the 90s, right? So these kids are dealing with that. There's a component here so these kids are not prepared. I mean, how many kids can walk up to you with a firm handshake and say, "Hi, I'm John"?
Wouldn't you admit, though, if there's so many numbers and so little coaching and guidance that they don't get the proper guidance in a situation like this? If you're making one coach the leader of 4 8U programs, I mean,
well, but
it's tough.
It used to be a hobby. It used to be a coach would do this for the fun of it and maybe make a couple $100 or volunteer. Now
I want to piggyback on what Nate just said, though, because JT, going back when you played soccer in high school, you had tryouts, right? Not everybody made the team, correct?
In high school?
In soccer? In high school?
Yeah, in high school, yeah, we cut the
And how many? How many on your team?
Are you talking about me as a player or as a coach?
As on your high school team, how many players were on your team?
I don't remember the roster. It might have been 25, but because that's what the roster, like you're allowed to have 25. So
right.
It could have been 20.
And what is it? 25. What is it in college? What is a D1? What is the roster size in college?
I think now from men, I think it's 29.
Okay. And how many, let's just say MLS. What's the roster size on MLS team?
I think 25 is the 22 or 25.
So why in the hell are we having these teams where there's 49, 50, 60 kids or whoever on a roster?
What? What team has 60 kids in a roster?
I'm saying, like, with the APSL,
Yeah.
with the rosters that they turn in, there's literally 45 to 50 names, and then there's ones that are coming in just so that because they register. Why are we allowing that? Why are we allowing, like, flooding the system? Take the talent like you have, and make the most of that, and then go on from that point. Like baseball, Nate, it's 25 man, and then at the end of the season, they go to 40. But that's just allowing the cats from AAA or some other cats that maybe had a good season. That's to give them a little, hey, good job, buddy. Come up for a week and a half.
Right.
Football is 52. It's 52. In college, like they're dual numbers because they're like 120, and some dress, some don't. But it's 52 at the NFL level. In basketball, it's 15.
Yeah.
And we have these rosters of certain sports where at kids level, on our soccer roster, there's 36 to 40 kids. There's only 11 on the field. That means you have to literally tell 29 people you're not good enough to be a starter.
Yeah, I understand they're getting
on a
paid.
kid. That is so hard on a kid. There's kids that'll never get that starting 11. Never.
Yeah. Yeah, and I again, if I piggyback off what Nate had said here a moment ago, which is the coach handling it. I mean, the reality is that from a coaching standpoint, at a field at 2:00 on a Saturday, handling your U14 girls game, and then having another game an hour later, handling your U16 boys game, I did it. It was not a hard thing for me to accomplish and have good relationships with. And sometimes there's a benefit to having that. But again, are we as coaches and as this and in sports in general, which the vast majority do not go on to the higher level, right? The vast majority of athletes in this country who play competitive in any sport are not going on to play in the pros, and they're not going on to play in college. Okay. Again, it's between 1% and 3% of the overall athletes are going on to the next level, right? That's just that's a fact. It's been that way for decades. That hasn't changed. Okay. The only thing that's changed in regard to sports statistically is that the women's game, it is turned over where more women, young ladies, are playing at a higher level than male athletes.
Good.
That's the only thing that has changed, which is
good.
Great. But statistically, it's still 1% to 3%. So 97 to 99% of athletes who are playing right now will never see a college field.
Here's what I want to know from you two. And I know we're running long, but this is a great topic because I think everybody's invested in this. If you were, let's say you're a senior in high school, okay? And you start getting all these letters from D1 colleges, regardless of the sport. You can choose soccer, you can choose baseball, whatever sport. What do you think film they're looking at? Do you think they're looking at your high school film? Or do you think they're looking at your travel league in the summer for 2 months team reel, depending on what you make? What do you think is more important to them? Honestly.
For what sport?
Any sport.
I guess it depends on the sport.
I'll go to the cream of the crop. I'll go to IU, Indiana soccer, the cream of the crop of college soccer. Do you think they're looking at people at the high school level, like the seniors who are playing those games, winning state titles, going to whatever state finals, regionals, whatever? They're taking their statistics, or are they looking at the club people?
They're looking at club.
Yeah.
100%.
They're not looking at high school.
Not at all.
Not at all. So if this kid didn't go to high school, they wouldn't even they would just say, oh, well, there's the club players. I want them.
Yeah. When it comes to soccer specifically, it is ECNL, MLS Next, Showcase, national selection games. That's where all this comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in, and I'm not saying there's not an anomaly in there, because there is, but they're an outlier. But no, they're not watching high school games.
And that's my point of why soccer is overflooded in this country and why no one gives a shit.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, you're pulling from leagues where money is priority.
Those things. When you think about basketball at whatever levels, there's two basketballs. It's D1 basketball and it's the NBA. When you think of football, all in the fall, it's Saturday college, Sunday NFL.
Yeah.
But all because those players, they get looked at in high school. It doesn't matter what they do in their AAU 14 under travel and one leagues, whatever shit league they're playing in.
AAU is huge. They're getting
It is
scouted all over the
huge.
place
It
in
is.
AAU.
It is huge. But I'm in the state of Indiana. I am in basketball country. Nobody at the D1 level, from IU, Purdue, Ball State, Butler, Notre Dame, nobody is looking at these little shit leagues in the summer where there's 900 kids running around just showing off their ball skills. No, they're looking at Westfield. They're looking at Mount Vernon. They're looking at New Pal. They're looking at their high school stats. That's what's preparing them, because what you just said about it's preparing them for what goes on. In school, you're getting educated. You have to discipline yourself because there's multi things you're doing. In those leagues, it's basketball, travel, boom. Basketball, travel, boom. There is no other life lesson getting in there.
Well, I mean, again, I can't speak to what I don't know about basketball, but I know that colleges are looking at kids at 13 in AAU land, and 14, and I mean, I think LeBron James, before he even got to high school, was being. I mean, he was already picked. It's like, before he even walked into high school.
But that's the thing. Nobody knew. Everybody knows St. Vincent St. Mary for LeBron. That was his high school.
Yep.
What he did in McDonald's, like these McDonald's All-Americans. Nobody watches that game. That's an honor. That's not a showcase. That's not.
And that's the thing. You used to earn your way into those positions. You used to earn your way through what you did in the high school ranks into those higher level competitions, and that's where they pulled from. It's changed now. Like we said earlier, basketball's changed. They are looking at AAU a lot more now. Maybe not exclusively, but they are. But that's the thing. Like, you used to have to earn your way into the McDonald's All-American game.
But here lies in the problem. The best players are going to go where they can be seen, and also where they can get the best training and coaching.
That's
and not
fair.
all high schools offer that, because in a lot of cases, the high school coach is also the math teacher. And so,
volunteer.
And so again, if you are a high school athlete, you are going to go where and in Indiana, there might be the best high school. I think about this. I mean, in Texas, they literally hire football coaches and they become teachers.
A lot of money, though.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
So
Florida, Texas, Ohio is like that.
Yeah.
They hire big money for football coaches. And here in Indiana, I can tell you, there are some coaches here at high schools that you're like, what in the name of all?
I think the issue in my mind is just completely ignoring high school, right? Because the kids who don't have the financial means to be in those leagues, again, like we talked about, can get left on the chopping block. So I think herein lies the problem with the broken system that we're talking about.
There's just too much. I just think at the end of the day, there's too much soccer. There's way too much.
Well, so for the sake of this conversation and for us to wrap this show up, I think a couple things. One is that the club season, like the club season as a whole, I can't speak to other states, but here in Michigan, which I believe it's the same, right? ECNL is usually an MLS Academy is a 10-month program, right? So it's 10 months, and it usually starts. So they try out in May, and they begin their season traditionally 2 months later. So it would start typically in July, middle of July into August, and then they go from there until, again, like March, April. And then your other youth programs, your non-academy MLS ECNLs will try out in June, and then they'll start usually end of August and September, and they'll go. If you're the girls, high school age boys, you won't play at all in the fall. And then if you're girls, you play in the fall, and it flip flops just because of high school, so that the players can go play high school. So, and then the things that happen in the summer are traditionally your amateur leagues. There's not a lot, or maybe recreational, but there's not a lot of actual competitive soccer that takes place in the summer, because you've got U.S. Amateur Cup, you've got U.S. Youth Regionals and U.S. National Championships, you've got the ECNL and MLS Next Academy National Championships. All of those things happen in the summer, where it's like all the regular seasons are over and done with, and they play. So from a summer standpoint, there's not a lot going on except for all this amateur shit, we see. Right. And that's where you might see some youth players. But I agree with both of you. There is a oversaturation in this country of all things sports at the youth level. And it is 100% a money grab. There's no doubt about that. It's all about money, right? Everything we do now is about money. And we talk about it's the root of all evil, right? And it's true. And to be fair, but without the money, you can't do certain things. And for every player that wants that fighting chance to get to that next level, if they didn't play in a club, they might not get there. Right. So there are goods and there are bads with this process. And our job, I think, in these chairs is to say, okay, well, here are the good things and here are the bad things. And how do we fix the bad things to make them better? And how do we take the good things right now and make them better? Right. Because those good things, like, for example, how a club like the Nationals here in Michigan is sending almost 240 kids to college every year. And of those 240, I think 120 of them are young ladies. That's a great thing. Right. So how do we continue to shine the light on that and at the same time say, hey, why can't we get better this? Why can't they do this better? Let's go ahead and eliminate this, and I think that's what we have to do from this chair or from our chairs. And also, I think continue to help kind of push this game in the right direction, which is shining a light on it. And I think we do that in spades here on Inside the Game and on our network as a whole. But it's a great conversation, and we'll continue it. We'll continue this conversation because, again, there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot that goes into soccer in this country, and it's really easy to talk about the MLS and and the USL Championship because professional players getting paid big money. But I mean, the amount of money that is being paid and exchanging hands in the youth environment is astronomical.
Yeah,
it's astronomical. I know this because we have these conversations every day with clubs across this country, and they are all fighting the same battle, right? They're all fighting the same battle. There are clubs out there that have 100 kids that play in their clubs or 100 teams, and they're smaller and they are getting eaten up by larger clubs, right? And so that's a real thing. So we'll continue this conversation because I think it's a good one. And I'm glad it kind of morphed into that after we started complaining about how we get, no information from teams. And I think it kind of morphed into us, like just starting to kind of point our fingers back to the.
We took it to them there. Like they're blaming us. Well, listen, you sons of bitches. Here's what we have to say about you. Quit killing our kids. Quit killing them.
But hey, that is a wrap here on episode number 99. Tomorrow is 100. And,
boy.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I am excited. John's getting cut off. Oh, there you go. But so, is it me?
No, you sounded. Yeah, I mean, wasn't as bad this time, but you're all right.
There you go. Well, so episode 100 tomorrow. We are excited. So join us tomorrow as we dive in this really, really cool, continue this cool conversation on episode 100. That's right, 100 shows of Inside the Game tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And we couldn't be more excited about that. But I'm Jonathan Turner. That's John. That's Nathan. We are excited to have you here, part of this show, Inside the Game, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every single day. Subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family. We'll be back at this again here tomorrow. Same time, same place on episode 100. See you tomorrow.